Okay, so today we are going to talk about congruent triangles. Triangles by SSS and ASA. Okay, what does that mean? They're congruent triangle by side, 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 and congruent triangle by angle, side, angle. So congruence by side, side, side. Okay, so very obvious one. I know the triangles are congruent if they have all the angles congruent, all the sides congruent. But I don't want to check every single angle and every single side all the time. So there are shortcuts. One of the shortcuts is congruent by side, side, side. So they're going to give me two triangles. And let's say we're going to call it A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. Now, you got to be careful with this because even though they look like they're the same, it doesn't mean they're the same unless they are marked. Okay, we cannot assume that unless they're going to tell you the triangles are drawn to scale. Okay, then you can measure or you can look at it, you can rotate it and see if they match. But if they don't tell you that, you have to just look at the markings. So for example, they're going to give me markings on those three sides. Okay, so angle side AC is congruent to FE and AB to ED and CB to FD. Okay, now the shortcut is I can write triangles ABC is congruent to triangle. Well, first I got to think about it, which one is it, because I need to name it in order. So if I start from A and I go to B, right, I'm using the angle between the sides one mark and 3 marks. Okay, so finding the angle between the sides, there's mark 1 and 3 is angle E. What does that mean? That A is corresponding to E. Okay, and then I went from the side A to B using the 3 markings. So I'm starting from side E using 3 markings, going to side D. And then I'm going to go from B to C. So from B to C, I'm using 2, the side that is marked as 2 lines. So I need to go from D to F. Now, how do I know they're congruent? They only give me a sides. Well, I know that we can say the triangles are congruent by side, side, side. So 3 corresponding sides are congruent. That means the triangles are congruent. Now, what I was talking about last time, you might have something given to you that is not directly marked for you. Okay, so let's call this example A and this is B. So they're gonna only mark this and this and this and this. Okay, so I suppose I have 3 sides and I'm missing one, but because they share side ED, I can automatically mark it for myself. The side ED is congruent to itself because it's the same side. Kind of like when you share your wall with the neighbor. It's basically the same measure, right? So I can write triangle ADE is congruent to triangle. So this one you can start whatever you want. You can call it whatever you feel like it, but the second one has to follow using the markings. So if I start from A and I went to D, I need to find the angle that is between sides 1 and 2. So that will be angle C, right? So A goes with C, and then I went from A to D on this one. AD using two markings. That means I need to go from C to E. And then after that, it's I don't really have to think about it, because the only way I can create a triangle is going from C, E, and end up at D. And they're congruent by side, 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 because 3 corresponding sides are congruent. And then they might give you something A, B, C, D, E, marked like this. Okay, so are they congruent by side, side, side? Well, we need 3 corresponding congruent sides. Right now I only have marked 1. Can I add something? Do I know anything about it? Well, I do. I have vertical angles which I can mark, but is that going to help me having 3 pairs of sides? No. Do those triangles look congruent? Yes, but it doesn't mean they are. So at this point, I just write I have not enough info, okay, or not congruent. Okay, not enough information. Now, if you are doing work, I do not want to, if you know they're not congruent, don't leave it blank. Just write, you can even write NA. Okay, for short, for not applicable. I cannot find anything to make them congruent. Okay, but don't leave it blank, because leaving it blank, I don't know if you know it or you didn't do it. Okay, so the second part, the second congruence we're going to talk about is congruence by, oops, by angle, side, angle. So I can have, for example, well, 2 triangles. Let's make them separate first. Let's call it A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Okay. In order for them to be congruent by angle, side, angle, I need to have 2 angles marked. So I'm going to mark, let's say, angle A and B, and then X and Y, and the side, but it has to be included side. What does it mean? The side that I'm going to mark has to touch angle A and angle A on the other side. I mean, angle on one side and angle on the other side. Okay, so I cannot mark this side because it's only touching one angle. I cannot mark this side because it's only touching one angle, but the side that is touching both is this one. So when you're reading it from left to right, or you can start at any angle, this is congruent by angle, side, angle, and then corresponding one is angle, side, angle. Now, how do I know I don't go this way to find my given information? Well, if I start from angle, I don't have anything here, I don't have anything here, I don't have anything here. That's too much. That's going too far without any given information. So you're trying to find the closest information you can get. So now I can write triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. Now which one? Well, A is 1 arc and X is 1 arc, so that means it's gonna go with X. Then B has 2 arcs and Y has 2 arcs, so that's gonna go with Y. And the third one is Z, so I have to use the Z. How they are congruent? Well, they're congruent by angle, side, angle. Another shortcut. I don't need to have more information given, I just need to have those 3 pieces in order for them to be congruent. Again, you can also see a picture like this, okay? When not everything is marked for you, they're only gonna mark, let's say, this angle and this, and the one on the other side with this guy on the other side. Okay, are they congruent? Well, for now, I only know the angle B. Actually, this angle is called ABD. Is congruent from angle to angle CDB, right? And then I have a second pair of angles, but it's not enough information to say they're congruent. But because they share a side, we can add some something that we know. The shared side is always congruent to itself. So I can put the shared side is always congruent to itself. So I can put the marking there. And now what do I have? I have angle. I don't want to go this way because there's nothing given on this side until the angle D here. So that's angle, side, angle. And again, angle, side, angle. So they match. So I can write a statement. Triangle ABD is congruent to triangle. Okay, so let's think about it. This angle B right here goes with this angle D, and this guy goes with this. So the only one that are left alone is A and C. That means they have to match. So A goes with C. Okay, B in the triangle ABD is marked with one arc. So that has to go to angle D in the second triangle. So that means B goes with D. And the last thing that is left is B in my second triangle. How they're congruent? By angle, side, angle. There might be some triangles that, again, they look like they're congruent, but they are really not. So for example, let's do this one. A, X, C, Y, B. Okay. Let's say they're gonna give me this angle, and they're gonna give me this side and this side. Okay, so right now I only have angle A goes with B, and those two corresponding sides are congruent. What else I can add? I can add from myself that the angle with vertex X in the first triangle is congruent to angle with vertex X in the second triangle. Why? Because they are vertical angles, right? So that information is not directly given to us, but it's there. So now I'm looking at my picture. I have angle, and I wouldn't go this way to find another given information because the side is not marked, the angle is not marked, and then there is a side mark. So I'm going too far without any information. So I'm gonna jump here. Well, the closest one is given to me is angle. And then there is side, right? So that will be angle, side. And this guy is angle, side. So if angle, side works, they will be congruent. But today we don't know that yet. So for now, I don't have enough info to state they are congruent, because they're not going in the order I want them to. I only know right now angle, side, angle. Why this, even though they have two angles marked on one side, why is not the same? Because the side is not included between two angles. They would have to mark this side right here for me and this side right here in order for them to be congruent.